There is no more famous or infamous biker gang in the world, though any angel will tell you it is called a motorcycle club.
Police say Hells Angels are establishing a new chapter here in Lethbridge. Members are holding a grand opening party to coincide with the weekend street cruise.
So they keep asking all day, I would like to go to the bar, would like to go to the bar. Finally, we went.
Police anticipate the arrival of up to 300 Hells Angels members.
Hundreds of Hells Angels and their supporters from across Canada are gathering in Langley.
So we want to make sure that they aren't targeted so that the public can stay safe, but we also know that the Hells Angels are perpetrators of violence.
Police say Hells Angels members have been targeted by other groups in BC over the last few years.
The Hells Angels are a very sophisticated organization and are very media savvy and very public relations savvy.
Their presence is expected to be highly visible, and police will assess any potential threat to public safety on a case-by-case basis.
Hells Angels.
Hells Angels.
For decades, the Hells Angels have captivated public imagination. A brotherhood of bikers with an ironclad code, known for their roaring motorcycles and rebellious ethos. But beneath the surface lies a darker narrative, one of power, violence, and fear. Today, we'll uncover the stories of the 10 most dangerous members of this infamous motorcycle club. Their lives are filled with betrayal, brutality, and intrigue, making each tale more shocking than the last. Buckle up as we count down from number 10 to number 1 and reveal the outlaws who shaped the Hells Angels' notorious legacy. Number 10, Alan Pissarro. In 1969, amidst the swirling chaos of the Altamont Free Concert, a man's life was tragically cut short. Alan Pissarro, a member of the Hells Angels, played a central role in an incident forever etched in history. The concert was meant to be a celebration of music and peace. Instead, it became a battlefield. Pissarro, armed with a knife, confronted a young man named Meredith Hunter. Hunter, who had climbed onto a speaker box, was visibly agitated. Witnesses claimed he brandished a revolver, but whether he fired or not remains a mystery. In a heartbeat, Pissarro leaped into action, neutralizing the perceived threat with fatal force. Pissarro was charged with murder, but acquitted after concert footage revealed his act might have been self-defense. Though exonerated, Pissarro's life didn't end on a note of redemption. Years later, his body was found in murky waters under suspicious circumstances, leaving behind questions that would never be answered. Number 9, James Ezekiel Brandis, Jim. James Brandis was no stranger to violence. As a prominent enforcer for the Oakland chapter, his reputation was steeped in fear and ruthlessness. But Brandis wasn't just feared by rivals. He sowed distrust within his own ranks. Convinced that a fellow member had turned informant, he placed a bounty on the man's head, inadvertently igniting a chain reaction that involved law enforcement. Brandis' criminal activities extended beyond his brotherhood. From drug trafficking to murder, his name was synonymous with chaos. His downfall came in stages, marked by mistrials and a final conviction that sealed his fate. Alone in his prison cell, he succumbed to despair, taking his own life in 1994. Yet even in death, Brandis left a shadow over the Hells Angels that lingers to this day. Number 8, Kadir Padir. Born in Turkey and raised in Germany, Kadir Padir chose a path drenched in violence. As the leader of the Berlin City chapter, Padir led his crew through a bloody biker war. Surveillance footage from 2010 captured him orchestrating the cold-blooded murder of a rival gang member, Tahir Özbek. Despite his life sentence, Padir's influence didn't wane. From the confines of his prison cell, he continued to pull strings, using a smuggled phone to manage operations. Padir's story is one of unyielding brutality, where prison walls became nothing more than an inconvenience to his relentless pursuit of control. Number 7, Paul Eichscheid. Paul Eichscheid was the kind of man who lived a double life. By day, a successful stockbroker, by night, a member of one of the most infamous motorcycle clubs. His transformation from a respected professional to one of America's most wanted is a tale of dark duality. Eichscheid's crimes were nothing short of horrific. The murder of Cynthia Garcia, brutal, calculated, and merciless, stands as a chilling testament to his capacity for violence. Eichheid spent 17 years evading justice, fleeing to Argentina before being apprehended in 2018. His capture was the result of an international operation involving Interpol and U.S. Marshals. Yet even behind bars, his story remains a grim reminder of how a polished exterior can mask the darkest of hearts. Number 6. Michelle Jinks. Jean's power struggles within the Laval chapter of the Hells Angels culminated in one of the bloodiest events in the club's history, the Lennoxville Massacre. Michelle Jinks Janest was at the center of it all. 5 members of the Laval chapter walked into a meeting, only to be met with betrayal and violence. Their bodies were later dumped into the St. Lawrence River, a grim message to anyone who dared challenge the Brotherhood. Jinx's involvement didn't stop there. Weeks after the massacre, he brutally murdered Claude Roy, a Laval chapter prospect, solidifying his reputation as a man who let nothing stand in his way. Though justice eventually caught up with him, Janest's legacy remains steeped in blood and treachery. Number 5. Frank Hanbuth. Standing at 6'5" with a commanding presence, Frank Hanbuth was the epitome of a Hells Angels leader. As the president of the Hanover chapter, his influence extended far beyond Germany's borders. Hanbuth turned his chapter into a well-oiled criminal enterprise with operations spanning drug trafficking, extortion, and money laundering. Despite facing numerous legal challenges, Hanbuth always seemed to find a way to stay ahead, until his arrest in Spain in 2013. Even so, his reign left an indelible mark on the Hells Angels, solidifying their foothold in Europe's criminal underworld. Number 4. David MacDonald Carroll, Wolf. David Carroll, better known as Wolf, was a master of survival. As the president of Atlantic Canada's first Hells Angels chapter, Carroll became a key figure in the Quebec Biker War. His ability to evade capture was legendary. When a massive arrest operation loomed in 2001, he vanished without a trace, reportedly fleeing to Mexico and later Brazil. Wolf's connections ran deep. From drug trafficking to alliances with the Italian mafia, his criminal network was as vast as it was dangerous. Even today, sightings of Carroll in places like Australia and the Dominican Republic keep his legend alive, a ghostly figure who eludes justice. Number 3. Walter Stadnick. Walter Stadnick's story is one of resilience and ambition. Despite suffering severe injuries in a motorcycle accident, he rose to become the national president of the Hells Angels in Canada. Under his leadership, the club transformed into a national powerhouse, dominating the criminal landscape. But Stadnick's rise wasn't without bloodshed. The La Tourbillon massacre and the Canadian Biker Wars were testaments to his willingness to do whatever it took to maintain control. Though eventually jailed, Stadnick's impact on the Hells Angels' legacy in Canada remains unmatched. Number 2. Yves Apache Trudeau. With a staggering 43 confirmed murders, Yves Apache Trudeau was one of the most prolific killers in Hells Angels history. His ruthlessness knew no bounds, and his loyalty to the Brotherhood was absolute until it wasn't. After narrowly escaping the Lennoxville Massacre, Trudeau turned informant, confessing to his crimes and betraying his former allies. Trudeau's cooperation with law enforcement led to the convictions of numerous Hells Angels members, but it came at a price. His later years were marked by legal troubles, illness, and a desperate attempt to leave his violent past behind. Number 1. Maurice "Mom" Boucher. Maurice Boucher was the embodiment of power and fear. As the leader of the Quebec Nomads chapter, Boucher orchestrated some of the most violent events in Hells Angels history. The Quebec Biker War, a brutal conflict that claimed countless lives, was his masterpiece of destruction. Boucher's charisma and cunning made him a larger-than-life figure. Even when imprisoned for orchestrating the murders of 2 prison guards, he remained untouchable. His death in 2022 marked the end of an era, but his legacy, one of terror and domination, continues to haunt the annals of criminal history. The Hells Angels have long been a symbol of rebellion and brotherhood, but the stories of these 10 members reveal a darker side. From betrayal and murder to international manhunts, their legacies are etched in infamy. If you found this journey through the lives of the most dangerous Hells Angels as gripping as we did, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments which story shocked you the most. Stay tuned for more fascinating dives into the world's most notorious figures.